Welcome back to another episode of Tractor Roy. We're painting the M, well, the rest of the M. So my first attempt at painting is here under the tarp. We got all of this part done, and we've got all the rest of the body parts set up that are going to get done. The tires over there, they're getting painted by hand with just some aluminum paint and primer. All this stuff is hung up. We've got all the old paint scuffed off as much as we want. The body work, or the tin work, the hood, gas tank, and grill, we went all the way down to the bare metal everywhere, hoping to get that looking nice. Yeah, we're using Van Sickle paint. We're using self-etching primer underneath it just to help bite into that bare metal and bite into the paint. What else? I don't have the paint out here yet, but we're going to use hardener with it. I've heard with Van Sickle paint, it's not very UV resistant. After a couple of years, then it gets all chalky and starts fading. This thing is going to be stored inside, but we do want to make this, last as good as possible. So the fuel tank, I'm going to spray it like this. I'm going to do it first with the primer, and then I'll do the rest of everything else, and then it should be dry enough. By that time, I'll flip it over so it stands off on those studs. Then I'll do the top side. Same thing for the color coat. Flip it over like this, paint the bottom. By the time I finish the rest of it, it'll be dry enough I can flip it over on those studs. This, pretty much the same thing. It's sitting on sawhorses, so I'll paint the inside first and then flip it over so it's kind of rusting on these rails. And we'll probably have to touch up just a little bit from where it sits on those 2x4s, but that's easier than trying to hang it and have that thing swing while I paint it. Okay, I have no clue if you can hear me on the camera or not, but I'm doing an 8 to 1 to 1. 8 parts paint, 1 part hardener, 1 part reducer. So I mix the paint and the hardener together, let it sit for a little bit, and then add the reducer. So then now that this is mixed, you got to let it sit so it sweats. I think it's just so that hardener starts reacting with the paint. And then I add in the reducer after a little while. Van Sickle says you can use VM&P naphtha. We used their reducer on the rest of the tractor, but they were out. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. Now I only have 2 hours for this to work.
Get on it.
Everything's all painted. This is the next day. We had some issues with the spray gun. Inside of this thing, there's a little filter at the bottom of the hopper. I think it's somewhere in the bottom of this. Well, right there, that hole in the top, there's a filter that goes in there. It plugged up from that primer, and it just, like, couldn't get anything through it. I was using the Menards sprayer. It was like $30. That actually worked very well. It was just that primer was globbing up inside of that. I don't really know what the deal was. I thought I had it cleaned out before I put the top coat in, but I mean, obviously not. But those filters are cheap, so I had an extra one on hand so we could hurry up and get that finished because we had the paint and hardener all mixed already, so that kind of sucked. So now, plan. Let's see what else we got. These are painted silver now. This was just brushed on by hand because we didn't want to remount the tires because we've mounted all 4 of these with new tubes. Those are some good used tires. That one was a brand new tire, and that was a good used tire also. So these have new tubes. Rims are all cleaned up, and then we painted the inside of them. So those are still drying now. So maybe tomorrow they'll probably be dry enough. We'll get them thrown back on that so we can roll this into the shop. This stuff we're all going to put inside tonight. It's sat out for 24 hours. And then we'll be able to start stacking some of this stuff on there. Once we get this whole thing assembled, like every part, probably not the wiring stuff, but we'll get all the parts that are painted here installed, hood, grill on. Then we'll see how much, like then I'll go over it again with the paint. I got a couple of runs in the hood and the grill just because I was fighting the issues with that spray gun. It's not the end of the world. We'll just sand those runs out. And then as we kind of touch up everything, because inevitably we're going to pop the paint off of some of those bolts. So we'll make sure to touch up those bolts, and we'll touch up the hood and grill at the same time. And we got one of the tires seated. That one's for the WD-45 at my house. So we're going to go ahead and get all this stuff put in the shop, call it a night. Even though I just got here, still going to call it a night. So thanks for watching Tractor Roy. Hope I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully it'll be assembling this whole thing. I'll try and get it all on a video, putting everything on there as much as I can at least. We'll see where it goes from there. So, hope I'll catch you on the next one.